Great. Well, it's 12 Eastern time, so we'll kick things off. My name's Jordan Swaim Fox, and I'm the Outreach Coordinator for the Center for Urban and Regional Analysis, or CURA, at The Ohio State University. Really excited to welcome you to our third event of the webinar series, Climate Lessons for Our Cities, Global Perspectives on Climate Change in Urban Environments. This series is co-sponsored by CURA and the Byrd Polar and Climate Research Center. And throughout the series, we've been hearing from international scholars and practitioners about the impacts of climate change on cities and the best ways to mitigate and adapt to these effects. Today's guest, Dr. Chris Zevenbergen, will discuss the major features and challenges of taking a long-term perspective on urban flood mitigation, with climatic conditions projected to drastically change in the coming future. Before we introduce Chris, I just want to mention a few logistical items. If you require closed captioning today, you'll find a box at the bottom of your screen labeled with CC. You can click this box and select Show Subtitles to view subtitles during the presentation. Throughout the webinar, feel free to submit questions at any time using the Q&A box. We'll ask as many of your questions as we can in the last portion of the presentation. And if we don't get to your question at the end, apologies in advance. You'll notice that chat has been disabled today, so please use that Q&A function if you have any information that you'd like to share with the event organizers. You may have seen this on our website, but this event is approved for 1 AICP-CM credit. And to claim your credits, you can log into your MyAPA account on the APA website and enter the event info into your online CM event log. At the end of the webinar, you'll have an opportunity to complete a brief survey, and we really encourage you to do that to provide feedback and to help us improve these events. Any additional questions after the webinar, please reach out to me. My email is swaim-fox.1@osu.edu. Lastly, to learn more about CURA's future events or to sign up for our monthly newsletter, you can visit cura.osu.edu. You can also like CURA on Facebook and follow us on X, Instagram, and LinkedIn to keep up with all the happenings here. To learn more about the research of the Byrd Polar and Climate Research Center, including a number of public programs that they have, visit byrd.osu.edu, that's Byrd with a Y, or check out their social media streams on Facebook, Instagram, X, and LinkedIn. And with that, I'll pass it over to Jason Cervenik, Byrd's Education and Outreach Director, to introduce our speaker for today.
Thanks, Jordan. Chris Zevenbergen is professor at the Water Engineering Department of IHE Delft and at TU Delft, the Netherlands. He is also visiting professor at the Southeast University and at the North China University of Water Resources and Electric Power. He was a member of the board of public-private innovation platform Clean Tech Delta, the Netherlands in 2013 and 14, and of the Netherlands Partnership from 2010 to 2013. He is now chairman of the academic board of the Master of Science program, River Delta Development of 3 applied universities in the Netherlands, and the project director of Delta CAP, a capacity development program to support the implementation of BDP 2100 in Bangladesh, funded by the Dutch government. He worked as a researcher and consultant on various environmental issues related to the building industry, such as environmental impact assessments, product development, emissions modeling, testing procedures, building codes, and the guidelines of the 1980s, followed by 20 years of international research and consultancy in environmental engineering, climate adaptation, and water management of urban systems. In the past 15 years, he's accumulated extensive national and international experience with integrated approaches to flood management and urban environments. Chris, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Harvey. And thank you, Jordan, for inviting me. It's a real honor to be a speaker in this, I would say, very interesting webinar. And my talk today will be about water-sensitive design and planning, and particularly addressing the challenge of how to deal with the uncertainties when we think about the future. I would like to structure my lecture according to the items mentioned here. In the first place, I would like to briefly mention some challenges and shifting paradigms which are currently happening and which are really relevant when we take that long-term perspective for cities. Then a brief overview of the interventions. What are cities currently doing? What type of interventions they consider, particular to become a water-sensitive city or to protect the city against floods. And then dealing with uncertainties. What are the approaches? What can we embrace? Then I would like to give some examples, some vanguard cities. The question is, of course, what can we learn from those cities? And I would like to conclude with some remarks. And that all in 30 minutes. So I will do my utmost to stay in time. And I hope it will be appealing for you. The first point is the challenges and the shifting paradigms. What we see is there's still a lot of emphasis on short-term solutions in cities. It's very difficult for cities to have a long-term perspective and to have a real appealing view to become what we call a regenerative living city. Cities are still working in a very fragmented way, implementing climate adaptation interventions, but most of them have little or low impact. They have no critical mass. And of course, one of the exceptions is Singapore. You probably know much about Singapore, that Singapore is really becoming what we call a regenerative living city. A second point, what I would like to mention is that climate change is, of course, driving change and urging cities to really adapt and to really take the threats into considerations. But what we see is that the main driving forces are particularly coming from the energy and food production. These are likely the dominating drivers which really steer our cities in a certain direction. Water and water issues are relevant, but they are have not the top priority of city governments. So it's particular outside the water domain where we see the opportunities to really engage and try to move those cities into a water sensitive direction. And the third point is that when we look at cities, particularly in the global south, we see that these cities are rapidly growing, particularly in Southeast Asia. And a lot of investments are being made in those cities, and the window of opportunity to really address climate resilient development is narrowing down. Huge investments are taking place, for instance, in Dhaka. Large infrastructural projects are underway and being implemented, and they are creating inertia in those cities. So the flexibility and opportunities to intervene becomes smaller over time. And the last point is, and that relates also to my first point, that cities are lacking an appealing vision on the longer term and don't have, as a consequence, a long-term strategy. Now, if we look at the present situation, in Europe, we had a devastating floods in 2021 caused by a stagnant rainstorm, which is a sort of tropical rainstorm. And it was really one of the first rainstorms we experienced in some parts of Western Europe. And the consequences were unprecedented. We were not really prepared for these large volumes of rain falling on our country. And this is the situation just after these devastating rainstorm in the Netherlands, a small city along the river, one of our main rivers. And you see that city is protected by a temporary wall, and you can say, could manage those massive volumes of water coming from our neighboring countries, Germany and Belgium. And that is because we have implemented the Room for the River project in our country just 10 years before 2021. And that concept allows our river systems to really deal with extreme flood events. So you can say that this Room for the River program, which we have embraced in our country, worked well and prevented that our country was hit like Germany and Belgium by these unprecedented rainstorms. Similar disasters are happening all over the world, and this is in Zhengzhou in China, and Zhengzhou is one of the front-runner sponge cities. So the question is, how is it possible that a city which is a sponge city is hit so hard by this unprecedented rainstorm? And the reason is that we are obviously not really prepared for those extreme rainstorms. In our engineering practice, we do not really incorporate those extreme rainstorms yet. So let's have a look at the interventions we are considering in our cities. And one, of course, is like we did in 2021 in the Netherlands, is those temporary barriers. Mostly there's a lead time of 5 days. It takes about 5 days to implement those barriers. And in this situation in Germany, in the Elbe, it functioned well. And another example is the flood-resilient buildings, the flood-resilient architecture in Germany, in Hamburg, in this situation where you see that those dwellings are well designed to deal with extreme events. But this situation is quite exceptional. In the Netherlands, we have also some buildings and dwellings which are flood resilient. In this case, in Dordrecht, this historical building has been developed outside the primary protection. So you can say that we are quite well anticipating, in this case, these high water levels. In Hong Kong, there are currently large underground water storage systems, as you see here. And on top of those big cellars, you have green areas, parks, and so on. So there's a multifunctional use of space. And these systems are being built currently in many places across Asia. This is a typical example of a Dutch city behind the robust big dikes, part of our Delta works. And these dikes are being designed to withstand a storm surge of a probability in 1 in 10,000 years. So you can say there are very stringent and high design storms here to protect our cities. Another example of how we are dealing with increasing and changing climate is a locally led adaptation program, and we call this tile lifting. It's an initiative which started in one city where the dwellers, the citizens, are being encouraged to remove the tiles in their street, of course in a controlled way. And that started 4 years ago, and now there's a competition between different cities who is able to lift the tiles in a record pace. So we see there are cities now competing who has lifted most of the tiles, and these tiles are being, of course, replaced by green and locally green infrastructure. So and very soon there will be a competition in the Netherlands. It will end in October 31. The competition Tegelwippen 2024. And you can imagine that these locally led initiatives, when they really are being embraced by the citizens, can have a huge impact. When we talk about green and blue-green infrastructure, they are, of course, being considered as one of the most important interventions to really enhance the resilience of cities. And of course, the challenge is how to really connect those ad hoc single projects to what we call blue-green infrastructure. In particular, those blue-green infrastructure are increasingly seen to generate pathways, flood pathways for accommodating heavy storms in our cities. And that is what we are aiming to do, and I will come back to some examples later on. And this is what we see also widespread. The swales, like you have in the US, they are also being implemented on a massive scale. Apart from those, you can say, locally led initiatives, which are mostly ad hoc, we also see cities are being built, new built cities, and this is a city, we call it the City of the Sun, somewhere in the Netherlands. And this city really embraces, say, multifunctionality. It has water bodies around its perimeter, and those water bodies serve on one hand to accommodate, say, severe rainstorms, but also to provide cooling and to provide fresh water in the dry times. So this city has a very, I would say, appealing and integrative view on resilience and water sensitivity. What we see more and more is that the city alone cannot handle extreme rainstorms, and that cities have to look beyond their borders, have to reach out to the province and even the national level to really, align the strategies. And in many cases, floodplains, upstream cities are being considered vital. The management of those floodplains be vital to manage extreme flood events. And what you see here is a sort of Room for the River project in the Netherlands, which aims to prevent low-laying or down-laying cities from floods. There is, of course, you can say, lessons to be learned. And if we look sort of historical perspective of where we are coming from and how are we dealing with uncertainties in you can say in the probability of occurrence of storms and surges, then we started in the beginning just to react after an event, and then based on lessons learned, we were able to prepare ourselves for events. And in the current situation, we see that our environment is changing and that we have to adapt our systems to those changes. And particular, it is assumed that those changes are slow and that we can incrementally adjust our systems to changing conditions. So that is a bit the current situation. That is the situation of climate adaptation strategies. But probably in the future, we need more than that. We have to anticipate trends in extreme events and slow changing drivers. We see that probably incrementally adjusting our cities to a changing environment will not be enough. We have to make what we say a transition, a transformation, because incrementally adjusting alone cannot help us to deal with extreme events in terms of droughts, extreme events in terms of rainfall. We have to really think about new solutions to deal with these unprecedented events, and we have to deal with, say, large uncertainties in predictions of these events. So if we look at the paradigms which are currently shifting, we can say that, and particularly in the Netherlands, that holds true, that our strategies of our cities and our national strategy is really based on the following paradigms. In the first paradigm assumption is that we assume that climate change is slow, but might accelerate later on. But still there is time to consider and to adaptively modify our systems to changing conditions. A second assumption is that we know how the system is working. We have our models, we can predict very well how systems are functioning, and that means that we can anticipate what is happening, and we can prepare ourselves well by gradually adjusting our infrastructure to those changing environments. But what is now being questioned, and that holds true not only in the Netherlands but in many other countries, that we see that climate change is already happening. We see already the devastating impacts of severe droughts. We see that the farmers are already knocking on the door of our minister and say, hey, you are telling us that climate change is coming in the coming decades, but we have already now to deal with climate change, and we have to take action. The second point is that the models we are using, the models to really understand the hydrology of our water systems, to understand seepage, to understand how our river systems are functioning, we see that these models are not really telling what we are observing. And finally, we see that incrementally adjusting our water infrastructure is likely not enough. The lessons of 2021, the severe floods we had in the western part of Europe, are really telling us that our infrastructure is not prepared for those extreme events, and that we have to do more than just expanding its capacities. And that means that cities has to look beyond what I said, beyond their physical borders. They have to acknowledge that they are part of a bigger system, a catchment, and that catchment, together with the cities, has to be taken into account, defining a strategy. Now, to deal with uncertainties, there are a couple of approaches. And the more traditional approach is the risk-based approach, particularly in infrastructure design. And that assumes that we have an understanding of the probability and we have an understanding of the consequences. And based on these understandings, we can assess the risk, and a cost-benefit analysis can be made to really define what are the solutions we have to take in place to really have an effective solution to deal with our risk. And yes, the probability is based on historical data. Based on historical data, we make probability density functions, and we use those functions to make projections. That risk-based approach, we call it a fail-safe infrastructure. The design underlying the risk-based approach is, of course, that we want to have a low probability of failure. That has worked very well so far. The proposed solutions are often gray solutions, such as dams and concrete levees and culverts. But we see now increasingly that those systems can fail, and that we did not take failure into account in the design. A more emergent approach is what we call the resilient-based approach, where we really include failure, and we design for failure, and we take into account that failure may occur in the design phase. And that is called safe to fail infrastructure. Now, when we compare those two approaches, you can say the risk-based approach is focused on withstanding, providing a threshold, and the resilient-based approach is really, taking consideration that systems may fail, and that bouncing back or recovering should be really part of that integrative strategy. But a resilient-based approach is also more than that. It is also anticipating. It's also taking the temporal dimension into account and looking ahead. And I will come back to that later. But what it really comes down is that the interventions which fits well into the resilient-based approach are green infrastructure, green hybrid blue infrastructure systems. And they are able to really accommodate those three functions I just mentioned. Dealing with uncertainties in urban planning and water management is now really a very relevant topic. We are more and more convinced that we have to take a long-term horizon. Our old horizon was, say, maybe 10 or 2 decades ahead. But currently we see that we have to really look much further than a few decades. And one of the simple reasons is that those interventions, in particular interventions of gray infrastructure, they have long lead times and long lifetimes, and they can span several decades. And that means that if we want to plan in a climate resilient way, we have to take that longer term planning into account. But yeah, the challenge is, of course, how should we do that? One strategy is let's prepare for the worst. Let's take, say, an extreme situation into account, and let's design for exceedance. And of course, the question is, of course, what is the ceiling? What should be that extreme event? And those measures are very expensive, resource intensive, and they also always comes along with a residual risk. So prepare for the worst is a strategy, but it is also a strategy which has some very serious, you can say, countersides. A second strategy is to build in flexibility in the interventions itself, so that the intervention itself can be upgraded easily, but also flexibility in the strategy, which consists of a collection of interventions, and that along the way, the direction of the strategy can be changed. And of course, that requires that we have scenarios of plausible futures, and that we try to mirror our strategy against those scenarios. And of course, a robust strategy is a strategy which performs well across those scenarios. Now, strategy 2, built-in flexibility, is at least in the Netherlands more and more, you can say, mainstream. And one of the aspects, one of the features of that strategy is the use of adaptive pathways. So we can define the different steps over time. We can set directions, we can define also tipping points, and based on that information, we can draw pathways how to get to a future we want to go to. So that is, I think, 2 strategies we are currently embracing. And in the Netherlands, it's framed as adaptive delta management. Adaptive delta management is what we can say that the current standard for urban planning and also delta planning. And that is, as I mentioned, it's based on pathways instead of fixed end goals. But what is, I think, very interesting is that it connects also short-term decisions and short-term actions to a long-term aspiration, a long-term task. And that is, of course, needed because short-term actions can provide hurdles to reach that end goal. It can create lock-ins, it can really constrain to realize that long-term vision. So mirroring short-term decisions against that long-term task is what is at the heart of adaptive delta management. And a third one, linking investment agendas. And I told you that, say, the energy and food transition are main driving forces in cities. And that's why it's so important to have a long-term strategy, because linking investment agendas outside the domain of water infrastructure requires to have time to really align the different agendas with the agenda of water-sensitive cities. So linking investment agendas is something which is there. An example where that is currently happening is in the city of Rotterdam. Rotterdam is the second largest city of the Netherlands. It's also an important port in Europe. And what you see here is Rotterdam envisions to become a water-sensitive city. And frankly, that means that it is moving from, you can say, in the old days, there were hardly any pavements. There was a lot of green in the cities and hardly any traffic. The current state is that we have made our cities black, impervious, removed all the green, and that we are now moving to a future where we slowly are introducing green again and where we are removing the pavements. And Rotterdam is embracing an opportunistic approach. It means that it is really try to understand what are the dynamics of the city, where are the interventions taking place, what is the lifetime of the infrastructural systems, what the lifetime of urban developments, and when are major regeneration activities foreseen, and can we combine those activities with introducing those water-sensitive interventions. So it's an opportunistic approach, and it also means that it takes at least one generation to transform the city from its current gray city to its future regenerative living city. So one of the lessons is it takes time to get there. And this is an example of a project in Rotterdam. It is a canal and which serves as a major system to really absorb and buffer large volumes of stormwater. And you see here the same system. So the system is designed to really, for exceedance, it can accommodate large volumes of water. And in most of the time when there is no heavy rain, this extra capacity is used as a recreational walkway for people to enjoy the green spaces. So typically, multifunctionality is a leading principle in Rotterdam. They have also envisioned transitions all over the city, and this is an example of the current situation. That's the above picture, and it aims to become a city area as depicted below. So there are many appealing examples how the city is slowly transforming into a water-sensitive city, and the momenta of interventions are being determined by, say, the end of the lifetime of infrastructure or urban developments. And what is important, the city envisions a future, a long-term appealing future, which is, we can say, beyond the transition. If we really want to make a transition, then we cannot work incrementally from the present situation to the future. We call it forecasting, but we have to envision a future which lies far ahead beyond the transition, and then we have to look back, and via backcasting we can define the pathways to get there. So Rotterdam is really working on generating an appealing vision beyond the transition, and this in this case is 2100. Another example which I would like to mention is Copenhagen. Copenhagen is one of the very, very appealing examples in Europe, and it experienced a cloudburst in 2011. There was about 150 millimeter rainfall in 2 hours, which is really unprecedented. It was a rainstorm of a 1 in 1,000 year event, and the city was absolutely not prepared. So the city formulated an action plan, a cloudburst action plan, and it comprises 300 projects, 300 actions. And of course, those projects cannot be implemented overnight. They are really embedded in a in a strategy which will be implemented within, say, 30 to 50 years' time. And the city has started with the low-hanging fruit. So where are currently interventions taking place? Where are currently regeneration activities taking place? And where are the most critical, most vulnerable places? So they have ranked the projects, and they also follow, like Rotterdam, an opportunistic approach. They try to link the projects, the water-sensitive projects, with projects in other domains, linking in investment agendas, and of course, multiple benefits and nature-based solutions are at the heart of the strategy. And what is, I think, very interesting to know is that the total costs are estimated around 1.3 billion euros, and they supposed to be considerably cheaper than the traditional solutions, which consist largely of gray solutions. But yeah, there are quite some challenges. For instance, if you look at the cost-benefit analysis, there's an unequal distribution where the costs are being bared and where the benefits are being bared. So there are, of course, obstacles in really getting it done, but the program, the Cloudburst Action Program, is quite well underway. So one of the interventions they are doing is using the current infrastructure as flood conveyance systems. So they did quite some extensive modeling. They have a good understanding about how the city is functioning, and they have designed different types of, you can say, conveyance systems to transport large volumes of stormwater to places where it can be of no harm. And you see here a few options. And this is an example where of the city of Copenhagen. This has been already realized, although this is a rendered image, but this project is already being implemented, where you see that they have transformed the traditional impervious streets and squares into very nice green spaces. But also, this is a cross-section of a street, and those streets are already being designed, are already being implemented, and they can serve multiple functions, and one function is a floodway when there is the cloudburst. Now, apart from the two European examples, I would like to briefly mention what's happening in China. China is embracing the Spawn City program. There are 600 cities with more than 1 million citizens, and all those cities, they are really struggling with, you can say, too much water during cloudburst, and not able to deal with those large volumes, but also serious drought problems. So the city is embracing a Spawn City program, and it is maybe nice to see how they are really differentiating the approach according to the zone and according to, you can say, the building typologies we have there. So we have most cities in China, the old cities, they have a historical center. They have a ring which has been developed, say, in the 80s and 90s, and there is a third ring where new developments are taking place. So let's have a look what is the strategy for those cities. And this is a typical, say, historical center, and you can imagine that it is not really appreciated to remove all the grave pavements and to make this historical center, say, a green city as we see now in the modern cities. So the strategy here is to protect the critical parts and to maybe to accept that some parts get flooded during those rainstorms. In the ring, which has been developed in the 80s and 90s, there the philosophy is try to expand the retention capacity and try to slow down and absorb rainfall as much as possible. And you see here an example on the right upper picture. You see the old situation where we have a combined sewage system where the sewage and rainwater is combined and conveyed through an underground pipe to a sewage plant. And now on a big scale, in this particular case of Kunshan, a city in China, they are opening up the infrastructure, and they are separating rainwater conveyance from the sewage, as you see with the black tubings on the left-hand side. So they open up the system, and they are creating, you can say, very nice open water systems in the city. And this is an example where that has been done in Kunshan, where the rainwater is being now collected in those parks along city areas, and where we have at the same time a lot of opportunities for recreation. Now, this is now being implemented on a massive scale, but also cities are now preparing to transform, like this, and in a way we see also in Europe, multifunctional use, particularly of infrastructure, to address the issues of too much and too little water. And the new developments which are now underway, of course, have to comply with the current Smart City standards and Smart City requirements. And these cities largely consist of high-rise buildings with a lot of space, green space in between. And I would say that these areas are really transforming very rapidly, are built as smart cities. And the challenge is particularly not in this ring, but the challenge is, the constraining factor is in the third ring of those cities. Now, one of the leading experts and in this field is Professor Yu, and Professor Yu is really working across China on many cities, and is preparing plans and master plans for many cities. He is really envisioning a city where green and blue-green infrastructure are very dominant, and where we really have a sort of long-term perspective and try to really absorb the extreme events using blue-green infrastructure. Now, this is not new. This is happening across Europe and across the US. But what is, I think, new is the scale on which this is happening. And this requires, on the one hand, to imagine an appealing future of a city, and that should be a collective imagination. But it also requires policies in place to make this happen. Now, the target is 70% of the annual rainwater should be captured, and 80% of the urban areas need to meet those targets across China by 2030. So you can imagine what a huge challenge China has to transform cities in this space to really smart cities. Now, the question is, what do we learn from these examples? I think the first lesson is that we have to have that long vision to also really provide guidance to the steps taken on the short term. So small steps, locally led adaptation, should really be part embedded of, guided by a long-term vision. And the problem is, what we see now is that on the one hand, we have a lot of initiatives in cities, locally led adaptation initiatives. They are bottom up, like the tile lifting. They have a very, you can say, short time horizon. It's a very local level, and they are appealing because they are demonstrating the citizens how it is working. So that is a process, a trajectory, what works well, but cannot be considered in isolation. It should be part of a grand design or an envisioning of a future. And that can only be done on a larger scale, on a catchment scale, national scale, or a city scale. And that requires imagination and evidence. And what we see at our universities, that we have our landscape architects who are really stimulating to use their imagination skills, and where we allow to think outside the box. But our engineering disciplines, a lot of other disciplines, we are not really encouraging to embrace imagination as a requirement to come up with an appealing feature which is beyond that transition. Now, the lesson in short is that we have to reconcile and we have to work along two trajectories. On the one hand, the ground design, looking far into the future, and on the other hand, starting small with small projects which are appealing because they are demonstrating what is really the advantage of becoming a green or blue-green city. Now, one of the other lessons is that we have to embrace, say, the principles of, on the one hand, minimizing risk, and on the other hand, maximizing the benefits. And reconciling those is a challenge. And one of the methodologies which is now being applied is a three-point approach, which can help designers and engineers and city governments to really take those two objectives into account. So you can say the three domains are depicted in this graph. Domain one is the domain of the design exceedance. That's the traditional domain where engineers are working with designs and producing an engineering solution based on a standard. We have domain two, which means that systems can fail and that we take into account in our design failure. That can be that we build in flexibility through nature-based solutions, or that we, as we have seen in Rotterdam, allow the water to expand and go beyond, say, the traditional borders. And the third domain of the three-point approach is the everyday domain, or the day-to-day domain, where there is little or no rain. And there, the emphasis should be on the multiple benefits. So it means that a designer and architects and city planners, they have to embrace the three domains in an integrated manner, looking into the standards, looking into exceedance, but also looking into the multiple benefits. And this has been depicted, for instance, by our friends in Copenhagen in this way. And you can see that in those three domains, there are very typical objectives. In the day-to-day domain, the main objective is retaining water, allow water to infiltrate as much as possible. Also, purification is there. So nature-based solutions are the interventions which sits here. And then we have the domain to detain or convey, which is the traditional or technical domain. And then we have the domain of spatial planning and contingency plans, which is about the extreme domain. So that is, in a nutshell, what we can learn also when we look at those appealing examples, how those strategies are being built and developed. That also means when we look into the measures and interventions, where they sit, then we can say that green infrastructure is really covering domain 3 and 1, and could also be expanded a bit to domain 2, as you have seen in Copenhagen and in China, where floodways are being constructed using green infrastructure as well. And we see that gray infrastructure is very much confined to the first domain, and hybrid structures, are more and more embraced to cover the 3. So that is what we can learn from those examples. And concerning the hybrid structures, I would like to mention the Philadelphia water project, the Green Storm Water Infrastructure Project, the transformation which has been undergone in Philadelphia, where on a massive scale, the sewage and stormwater is being separated, and where, say, extra capacity is created by using above ground solutions, above ground green-gray solutions to really accommodate increasing volumes of water. And I think what is very appealing is if you look at the cost and benefits, and you see on the table mentioned on this graph that there is a significant volume of avoided capital cost here because the traditional gray infrastructure is quite resource demanding, and the addition of green infrastructure to expand on its capacity is being used here. So I think this is a very nice example which is in your country already happening. So I will now come to some conclusion remark. In the first place, that I think we are moving to a new era, and an era where adaptive planning and incremental adjustments are no longer valid. We have to really make plans and really take important decisions and look ahead. So planned adaptation means that we can no longer postpone, say, big decisions, but that we have to take big decisions, which needs to be planned and which maybe go beyond the transition. So the shift from adaptive planning, incrementally adjustments, to really transformative planning or transformative delta management of urban water management is probably the way to go forward. Now, design and design-based approach can play a very important role in shaping those plans. Then regarding the design principles, it is no longer, say, the efficiency which is important, because efficiency assumes that you can really estimate the cost and the benefits of an intervention very well. And we now know that there are large uncertainties surrounded by those, and that the target should be how to maximize the value instead of targeting and supposing that we know the efficiency of the system. A second one, which is under the 3PA approach, is design for failure and take extreme scenarios into account. And of course, the question is always, what should be the ceiling? Huh? And that is a serious challenge. But what we really know is that cities have to look beyond their city boundaries and have to reach out to the province and the national government to really align the strategies, and as a city is part of a bigger system. And managing extremes means managing the system as a whole. So cities are becoming, say, part of also our national policies regarding water management. Then what we learned from the examples is there are no single measure, there's no silver bullet. We have to use a portfolio, a raft of measures to really make a system resilient. And by the selection of those measures, what is important, that short-term measures should be really aligned with the long-term actions, the long-term visions. They may not provide obstacles for our future trajectories. And finally, a long-term horizon, looking decades ahead, becomes more and more crucial, because that allows cities also to seize opportunities to align investment agendas, and to maybe also what we call seize positive tipping points which emerge from domains outside the water domain. For instance, the energy transition can create a positive tipping point for our water-sensitive design. So I think I'm now about to reach the limit of my time, and I want to stop here and give the microphone back to Jason.
Thank you for an excellent talk with a lot of great applications for the Midwest and the US in general. Two questions came in. Are there other examples besides Philadelphia for some of these initiatives, or Sponge City-like programs that you would recommend we look at as examples?
Now, yeah, we have the example of Copenhagen, and that's a very, very important example. But there are, yes, you can say Singapore is number one in really being that regenerative living city. So there are more and more examples coming up. Yes, there are more examples. But in the US, frankly, I don't know. I don't know.
And then as cities move to these approaches, what is typically the biggest obstacle they're running into? Is it awareness? Is it available space, funding, community engagement, inability to think of what the future holds? What are the barriers? Do you see any patterns?
Yeah, I think the main barrier is a lack of a long-term strategy with a very appealing future. So a lot of interventions are still ad hoc and are not really part of really careful planning. That is what largely is happening, particularly in Asian cities, but also in Europe and in the US. We lack those long-term plans. That is, I think, one. Secondly, is if we look at the cost and benefits, you can say that it's so obvious that those green and blue-green solutions, they provide a lot of benefits, but how to monetize those benefits and to really factor those into policies is still extremely difficult. So financing blue-green infrastructure remains a challenge. So I think these two are, in my view, the most important obstacles.
A question just came in about that, the financing aspect, and you suggested in the talk that if you can find co-benefits, I think, that it isn't just about water. Is that a successful strategy, trying to figure out how to align multiple visions or multiple benefits and let the finances flow from there? Any guidance, because that seems to be a barrier we see in the US.
Yeah. Now, yeah, co-benefits or multiple benefits, for me, they are the same. So it means that if we are considering to take action and an intervention in the water system, we should always be mindful of taking the 3PA approach into consideration. And when we do that, it means that designing a water-based engineering solution cannot be considered without addressing co-benefits. If co-benefits are not taken into account, then we are on the wrong track. So, for instance, in Hong Kong, we have that underground water storage system, but above ground, you have a playground. So that underground system could not be there if there were no above ground playground system. We have multifunctional levees in the Netherlands, and we couldn't build those multifunctional levees if they were not multifunctional. So we see that, yeah, multifunctionality is a condition to really get it done. But on the other hand, it adds a lot of complexity to the financing, because you have more stakeholders, sometimes difficulties with really capturing those co-benefits in monetary terms. So yeah, it is a challenge. It is a challenge, but we see increasingly good examples.
Ian, a very brief question, but at one point in the talk, you suggested some of the infrastructure on the ocean is designed in the Netherlands for a 1 in 10,000 year event. Is in the US, I think we've seen 1 in 500 year typically be our high water mark. Is 1 in 10,000 year the Netherlands design standard currently, or is that just for stuff on the ocean?
No, that's the design standard for our primary flood defense system. So the whole Netherlands is protected against storm surges with a standard of 1 in 10,000 year. And we will even increase it to 1 in 100,000 year.
Okay.
So you can imagine that a 1 in 100 year event is likely to happen in a lifetime of a person. Right? So you can say that 1 in 100 year is a standard which is a lot of cities have that standard. So that means that each citizen will likely experience a disaster. That is what it tells, more or less. And in the Netherlands, we are a few meters below sea level, at least significant parts. So you can say we have a low probability, but extremely high impact situation. So we cannot afford that systems are failing. So it also, yeah. But in New York and Manhattan, you are also struggling with those extremely low standards. And that's why New York is ranked one of the most vulnerable cities globally, because of those low standards.
And last question, we only have about a minute left. Briefly, anything we're getting wrong or what keeps you up at night? What are your biggest concerns right now for what we're doing or failing to do?
Now, I think what is really, I think, a challenge is that we are very slow and likely too slow to really seize opportunities. There is so much being invested now, particularly in the global south, emerging countries. And a lot of infrastructure is called what we call labels the wrong infrastructure. Sometimes people call it stupid infrastructure because it does not embrace the principles of the 3PA. So we are still continuing to build our traditional infrastructure everywhere. And by doing so, we are creating our next disasters in cities. So I would say the pace of change is so slow. We have to accelerate and embrace that new thinking because there is no time to lose, I would say.
I'd like to thank you today for an excellent talk and for sharing a lot of great insight for us to consider in the US. Excellent. Thank you for your time. I would also like to point out to our next event, which will happen in about 2 weeks. This will be both an in-person and also a hybrid event for those that would like to tune in virtually. It's called Unpacking the 5th U.S. National Climate Assessment for the Midwest. It will also include 3 flash talks for featured work happening in Central Ohio. That will be on Friday, April 12th from 9 to 10:30 a.m. The in-person portion will happen in Scott Hall at Ohio State. And please visit the Cura website if you'd like to know more about that event or to sign up. Thanks again for everybody for joining us today. Thanks again, Chris.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you all.